And now, I am thankful to everyone for joining this evening and being a part of inspiring journey. It is indeed a privilege and a matter of great honor to welcome our esteemed dignitaries to the inaugural webinar. We are deeply honored to have with us our distinguished keynote speaker, Professor Dr. Neeraj Saxena, Sir, Pro-Chancellor JIS University, Kolkata, our Honorable Director, Dr. K.N. Nandurkar, Sir, our respected Head of Department, Dr. Ravindra Munji, Sir, our respected faculty members, distinguished guests, and all enthusiastic students and participants joining from various schools, colleges, and institutions. Your gracious presence truly enriches today's event, and we are delighted to have you all with us today. To formally inaugurate today's webinar, I would now like to invite our Head of Department, Dr. Ravindra Munji, Sir, to address the gathering with his inspiring words. Sir, I would now like to invite you to address the guests. Over to you, sir.
A very good evening to one and all. It's my immense pleasure to extend a warm welcome to each one of you present for this webinar. On behalf of KKWIEER Institute of Engineering Education and Research, Nashik, I welcome you all to the inaugural webinar of IIT-KKWIEER Expo 2027. KKWIEER Institute of Engineering Education and Research is one of the oldest engineering college in Nashik and Pune University. It started in the year 1984. Out of the 10 engineering departments, 8 departments of this institution are accredited by the NBA for 4 times. And we are also having AICTE Idea Lab sanction in the very first phase. IIT-KKWIEER Expo webinar series. Actually, IIT-KKWIEER Expo is our annual project competition. We call it as Working Model Contest, which we are hosting since last 23 years. One of the objectives of IIT-KKWIEER Expo is to promote creativity and innovation. And for that, we have started this webinar series. Today marks the beginning of the inspiring journey of knowledge sharing, innovation, and academic excellence. This webinar series aims to create a platform where ideas are engaged, creativity is nurtured, and future engineers are empowered. I feel deeply honored to welcome our distinguished dignitaries, our esteemed keynote speaker, Professor Dr. Neeraj Saxena, Pro-Chancellor JIS University, who is actually the pioneer of having this AICTE Idea Lab scheme in India. We are truly privileged to have such an eminent personality with us today. Your presence adds value, great value, and inspiration to this event. I would like to extend a warm welcome to all the respected faculty members, invited guests, and enthusiastic participants who have joined us from various institutions. Your presence reflects your commitment to learning and growth. We hope today's session will be insightful, engaging, and enriching for everyone. Once again, I welcome you all and thank you very much for joining this session. Thank you. Over to you, Harshita.
Thank you so much, sir. Your inspiring words have truly motivated us and beautifully set the tone for today's webinar. Now, it's my privilege to introduce our esteemed keynote speaker, Professor Dr. Neeraj Saxena, Sir, Pro-Chancellor, JIS University, Kolkata. Dr. Saxena is a distinguished education reformer and technology policy expert with over 3 decades of experience in higher education, innovation, and public policy. He has served as an advisor at AICTE Ministry of Education, where he played a key role in establishing the AICTE Idea Lab scheme and has also made significant contributions as a scientist at TFAC. He has further enriched his academic journey through executive education at the Harvard Kennedy School. Adding another inspiring chapter to his remarkable journey, Dr. Saxena recently appeared on Kaun Banega Karodpati season 16, where his extraordinary act of voluntarily stepping away from the hot seat to give younger contestants an opportunity won the admiration of millions. This rare gesture beautifully reflects the value of leadership, humility, and selfless service that he continues to embody. We are truly honored to have an eminent personality with us today. Sir, we look eagerly forward for your valuable insights on AICT Idea Lab, cognitive elevation from knowing to doing to creating. Before we begin, I would like to request all the participants that if you have any questions during the session, feel free to post them on the chat box. We will take few questions during the question answer session according to the availability of time. With that, we now come to the most awaited part of the today's webinar. May I now request Professor Dr. Neeraj Saxena sir to kindly deliver his keynote address. And over to you, sir. Welcome on the stage.
So, very good evening, namaskar, and Jai Hind. At the outset, I wish to thank profusely Dr. Nandurkar, Dr. Munje, and all my Idea Lab fraternity who has joined online today. Also, the faculty and students who have joined this session today. I'm happy to be the opening batsman for the series that has been planned, and I wish great success to the organizers of this series, IET KK Wagh Expo webinar series. I'm sure that you will have very good speakers lined up throughout the year for the benefit of students and faculty. So I will take you through my slides and okay, right. So this is how my presentation would move. I'll talk about the structural shift that is happening in education, the cognitive reversal being induced by AI, where Idea Labs fit in the changing scenario, need to redesign education around AI. So this is how I'm going to proceed, and I'll try to wind up within 40 minutes. So we have an inflection point, no deliberation, no talks is complete today without talking about artificial intelligence. It is no longer a tool. We had in the last few decades, we had internet, we had search engines, we had mobile phones. All those technologies have come, and AI is not the last one. There will be more technologies in future. But since it is impacting the cognitive abilities, it has a profound impact on education, and the very architecture of education is getting hit by AI. So why Idea Labs matter even more in these times when AI is here. Idea Labs were conceived when AI was not there around, and we know that AI has made knowing very cheap. We can know uh, at any point of time, and now also in any language and any format that we want. So what is left for us is doing and creating. That's what Idea Labs were designed for. We have knowledge in abundance, and the lower cognitive levels are now automated. Remembering, understanding, and application of knowledge is claimed by AI. And we need to move towards the higher cognitive levels of analysis, evaluate, and create. That's where creation happens. That's where opportunities for prototyping emerge, and we have scope for analysis, rating, judgment, and all those cognitive abilities get developed when we move out from core thinking to critical thinking. So here on the screen, you find number of technologies which have which have appeared before humanity, uh, starting with printing press, radio and television, internet, smartphones, generative AI, all these have emerged. Now, each technology has democratized something in education. Mass access to knowledge was democratized by printing press. Before that, we had to remember things, and uh, we had smartphones now, which have democratized knowledge and put in learners' pocket. So each of the technologies added something, and at the same time made many things obsolete. So teacher as a sole source of knowledge is obsolete. Classroom lecture as main source of delivery is outdated. Classrooms bound learning, answer-based assessment systems, all these are on the last legs. They are not meaningful anymore when we have artificial intelligence with us. So if you look back, here's a time scale. On the time scale, you find that right from 1450, we had printing press, then we had uh, pocket calculators, we had slide rules, we had then computers. All these kept making one thing or the other in the education system obsolete. Since internet and search engines, uh, YouTube, MOOCs, smartphones, generative AI, many more things have become obsolete. They are dead artifacts. In fact, internet gave us the first signal that we need to drop many of the things that we still keep in our education system. Uh, Classrooms, lectures, examinations, they are all outdated. Uh, and it is AI which is showing us the mirror. Internet was the signal. We should have changed the way we do our education. We should have built education around internet. We did not do it. We still carry the dead wood with us. And now AI is telling us that better do it now. So many of the things that you saw in the previous slide, which are obsolete, need to go. They have no place when AI is here. So what exactly is happening now? The information is available in bulk. There is no limitation. It's abundant now. And I often talk about salt. Salt was once upon a time a protected commodity. It was held by in security in secure places. It was transported under security. It was rationed, and it was also given as salary. Salt led to the word salary. So, but today salt is freely available, and the human behavior around salt has changed completely. Anybody can use it, there is no restriction. Similar thing is happening with knowledge. It is freely available now. There is no need for protecting it. It can be imparted, it can be picked up by anyone. So the fact that there is a change in abundance from scarcity to abundance, it matters to redesign education. Now, another example which I talk about is the nano scale. Uh, at nanoscale, it is the surface which dominate the what is inside. And we see that gold changes its color, conductivity, reactivity, and the same material at nanoscale and at macro level behaves differently. So AI is education's nanoscale moment. Surface learning now dominates, and whatever was a bulk has to be ignored. But universities still optimize the bulk. They are not ready to touch the surface where the value lives. So what exactly AI has done? It has collapsed the information asymmetry. Now, anything which can be converted into zeros and ones is now with every student's through their phone. All along, till internet was there, the professor's authority rested on exclusive knowledge that was accessible to the teacher. Now that exclusivity has gone, and it is not a gradual erosion; it is a structural collapse, and we are seeing this within a single generation. Now, what do you know has no meaning now. It is obsolete. What can you do? You have knowledge freely available, but what can you do? Knowing that or having that knowledge is not sufficient anymore. What do you do with this? That is the question now. And that is what has to be a consideration for higher education, not just technical education. Another interesting thing is that knowledge half-life has shortened. And today, in for many of the courses that we teach of 48 months or 4 years, the half-life is too less. So in 70s, this half-life used to be 30 years. It became 15 years in 90s. And today it is in many cases less than 2 years, which means whatever is being taught in the course becomes obsolete by the time graduate moves out of the college or the university. And a 4 year degree now certifies mastery of a world that has already moved on. So but the credential that we issue, the degree that is issued does not expire, and the course duration has become longer than the shelf life of its own content. So a serious thought needs to be given as to what should be the real content of a course now. If what is being taught is outdated well before the program ends, the focus must be on skills, lifelong learning, uh, interacting with the machines, interface with the humans. All these things will matter much more than the knowledge itself. Knowledge is freely available to everyone, so there are other things that need to be dealt in academic institutions. So we had an industrial age university so far, which was built for an entirely different world. And the basic purpose or the agenda was to produce standardized workers for standardized factories. So there was no scope for creativity. Everything was to be followed. The instructions were issued and they had to be followed. Now, another relic of that age is Carnegie Unit, which we all know as credits. So credits every year, 40 credits have to be earned. And that credit was actually created to pay pension to the teachers, retiring teachers. Today, that has become a measure of learning, not competence. So we still use that term credit, organize our entire education around those credits, but that was to calculate or estimate the time spent on acquiring knowledge. It had nothing to do with the competence, nothing to do with the learning that has happened. And recall based exams have been there around because of the scarcity of knowledge that we talked about. This was meaningful, rational in the 1900s when standardization was the order. Today, it is structurally obsolete. Neither the exams, nor the classrooms, nor the curriculum that we create stands any ground today. So education has been optimizing for memory, reproduction, standard answers, procedural tasks, whereas AI is already started performing on retrieval, drafting, pattern recognition, automation. So this is a scenario right in front of us, which means education has to be rebooted, rebuilt. When AI can do all these things, better build on these, because these are the skills that will be required from the graduates, not memorization, not reproduction, not these are the skills no longer required by the industry. They are not going to uh, bring jobs to these graduates. So we have two scenarios before us. We can add AI to old education. We did that by introducing or digitizing the all the old education when we had IT. Instead of changing the education system, we digitized and preserved all that was dead, and we still carry all those things. Now, the second scenario is to redesign education around AI. That means we have to prepare people what AI cannot do. If AI is able to do certain things, then all the jobs around those certain things or skills will go to AI. There will be no recruiter for those skills. And we are all stuck. Most of the institutions are stuck in scenario one. We are trying to insert AI into everything, into the old education system. We committed that mistake by digitizing the education, and it has created more unemployables than employables. So digitizing was a wrong decision. It has not helped in the growth of education. It has not helped in cognitive elevation of the graduates. So this is what is the cognitive elevation from knowing, doing, creating, and questioning. So far, we are all stuck at knowing. We do everything. We conduct classes. We uh, organize lectures, talks, everything we do, even examinations. But that is all about knowing, and that aspect has already gone to AI. What is left is doing, creating, questioning. So these are the higher orders thinking skills or critical thinking skills. So we have to move from memory to meaning, finding meaning instead of memorizing things, tasks to problems, answers to inquiry, and from projects to validated artifacts. So this is the change required and is an indication of cognitive elevation. So this is what is the core thesis of the talk that I am delivering today. And here is what I'm wish to speak. Now, all of us are familiar with Bloom's taxonomy, and the traditional flow has been that we see something, then remember it, understand, apply, analyze, evaluate, create, and then in some cases transfer also. Now, the bottom three, which are core thinking skills, remember, understand, apply. These are now handled by AI, by the machine. And we have to dominate, evaluate, and create the top two levels of Bloom's taxonomy. And when we create, it automatically takes care of evaluate, analyze, apply, understand, remember. So anything below a particular level is always addressed or subsumed by the one at the top. So it makes no sense now to make the students and the graduates apply, understand, and remember. So we have to push or elevate the cognitive levels, and the education has to be reworked around that. So I've been talking about reversals, and it is a reversal is not just a a shift in degree. It is an inversion of structure. It means that primary becomes secondary, and what has been at the periphery becomes central. And for education, this has stuck because there is a collapse of information asymmetry I mentioned earlier, and it is not a choice anymore. It is an environmental change, and there are broadly four levels uh, uh, of reversals at four scales at which reversal happens. First is the internal one, which is reflected through assessment, pedagogy, questioning, feedback. Then we have structural level inversions, which are institutional architecture, and they cover the curriculum, credit system, transcript, faculty role, etc. The third one is the system level, and it operates at the level of national and international systems. And these are hardest to change, but their inversion has the widest consequences. And accreditation, credentialing, policy design, these are the reversals at this systems level. And then we have epistemological reversals or inversions, which are at the level of civilization itself. And what it is really the deepest layer and of what counts as knowledge, who holds the authority, and what education is ultimately for. So each reversal is a structural diagnosis which has to be followed by some prescription. And these are reversals. What I've said are reversals, and they cannot be managed through reforms. They require reconstruction. So it's a tall order, not cannot be done fully in the classrooms. Now, I'll talk about some of the AI-induced reversals. I have documented about 45 reversals, and I release one every week on Substack. So those who are interested can follow me there, follow these reversals. That Substack ID will appear at the last in the last slide. So AI is taking over core thinking, which means down learning. I will explain this to you. Assessment of questions. Start with context or problems. Teacher has pack at the back. So it requires the new age learning or AI induced learning. It requires starting with the context or problems, not chapter one or chapter two. So you have to confront the students with problems. Now, teacher has to leave the position of sage on the stage to become a pack at the back. He's there as a mentor, not as a deliverer of content. Now, pedagogy stops working. Pedagogy is for child education, and it stops working when we are adults. In fact, the kids in schools, they learn through memorizing. For them, learning is memorizing. And adolescents in secondary education, they learn through exploration. They are inquisitive. They learn through experimentations. And the adult learners in higher education learn through experiences. They cannot be forced, they cannot be assessed by testing their memory or making them write exams in 3 hours or 2 hours like that. That does not work for adult learners. And this AI is also going to decrease the number of people who will enter into higher education. So already globally, this number has started coming down, and we will see this here also. Now, I'll explain one or two of these reversals uh, for better understanding. This is that epistemological reversal, what AI exposes about knowledge. So AI has inverted, and information retention is no longer a marker of knowing. If you know something, if you have some knowledge, that is no longer an indicator of your scholarship. So this proposition, this assumption that knowing is being literate or educated is incorrect. It doesn't work anymore now. So from knowledge of facts to wisdom in application, this is how this transformation is happening. Now, this is something important of interest for all of the faculty. Now we are um, all used to up learning. That means sequential learning, foundation first, and it proceeds like chapter one, chapter two, semester one, semester two, and in the third year or fourth year, students are given some problem or project to solve. Now, when you have information in surplus at the click of a button, this learning doesn't work. It stops functioning. What is needed then is down learning, which means problem first, inquiry driven. And as the students solve the problem, they have to acquire knowledge. They have to assemble it, break it down as the problem requires, and foundation is acquired on the way. So it is we have to start with the problems from semester one itself, pose them problems, teach them through problems, let them build their knowledge, information, remembering, understanding through that channel. Moving from semester to semester, that doesn't work when you have information in surplus, in abundance. So AI is enabling down learning at scale, and it fills the gap of just in time, not just in case. So all along we had a system where we needed to memorize so that just in time we had that information ready for use. But that is breaking down because we have access to assured access to information always. So foundation need not come first. They come whenever the learner needs them. So this is going to change, and faculty and educators will find it something hard to swallow because they are used to up learning, uh, and somewhere we have to start this down learning because AI supports this, not up learning. So design courses backward, start with genuine problem and come toward the concept. So this is going to be the future of higher education, down learning. And another interesting thing is a traditional model teacher was holding the questions, students produced the answers, and a student was assessed based on the answers produced. This doesn't work now. And AI can generate all the answers. So if you want to assess a student, the depth of understanding of a student, you cannot do that based on the answers given because the answers may come from artificial intelligence. So you are not assessing the student, but the AI, which is not desirable. So if you want to make assessment of students, if you want to assess the student, you have to assess the prompts or the questions. So the reversal is from assessment of answers to assessment of questions. So in the AI age, question quality will be the measure of mind quality or understanding. And there is a prism framework which I have created. It is, when you ask for a question, assess the question, you have to look at precision, relevance, integration, scope, and metamorphism. So these are indicators of questioning, and we will have to switch uh, to assessment of questions or prompts somewhere down the line. And if we don't redesign, we have cognitive atrophy, which means that students will lean more uh, on the machine or AI and will not think. So we need to create situations where students think. And I have created this 4 quadrants, and it's very simple to understand. We have the questions can be known or unknown. Similarly, answers could be known or unknown. Now, the blue quadrant that you see is known answers and known questions. This is actually befitting for the primary students, where they have to be taught what is already existing, and the teacher is directing that learning, and it is more about recall. Students have to recall whatever has been taught to them. It has to be recalled. Now, quadrant 2 is about inquiry, not really research. It is wrongly written here. It is inquiry. So answers are known, but the questions are framed in such a way that students have to struggle a bit. So it's not really a full comfort zone. And this is very good, or it is befitting the secondary school students. Now, the greenish one, which is unknown answers to known questions. That means we have to find solutions. It is here that the actual learning for graduate happens. So higher education is the top 2 quadrants that you see, where the answers are not known. So far, all of us have been residing, the entire higher education has been residing on the bottom 2. We rarely go into the top 2, which is why things like Idea Labs become relevant. So here the way to teach is through heterogogy, which is self-determined learning, or learning from the peers. A teacher doesn't come into picture because they issue instructions, they deliver content. This breaks down for higher education, especially in the age of AI. No, this is I've already explained, so I'll just say that in the times of AI, education must migrate towards unknown answers to unknown questions. That is where innovations happen. That is where entrepreneurship seeds are sown. That's where leaders are born. So if you are into KAKQ, the first one, you cannot you are not prepared for the world. You need training for the world. The graduates have to be trained for at UAUQ, which is the highest level. Uh, so I just mentioned that where AICTE, the original intent of AICTE Idea Labs was digital fabrication. We were still struggling or maintaining the labs which are or the workshops which are outdated. We had not digitized them. Second was the experiential learning. Since the 90s, we have computer science based branches which did not give enough opportunity for students to work with hands. And today, when AI is hitting us hard, most of the jobs that will be left after this assault will be the ones where hands will be used. Our limbs are going to be used. So the secure jobs will be the ones where we are going to use our limbs. So hands-on prototyping, this was missing before the Idea Labs came in, and we allowed these tools to be freely used by all branches. It was not just left for mechanical engineering or electrical; it was for all. And this was a design which pushed students from a known atmosphere, a familiar setting to an unfamiliar one, and get insights and get trained to be a well-rounded graduate. Now, what Idea Labs were not meant to be, they are not incubators. They are basically pre-incubation facilities. They are not to be in unicorn factories as many projects, because the TRL or technology readiness level handled in Idea Labs matches with the bottom three layers. So 1, 2, 3, that means making a prototype. So innovation or incubators come after that. Once the prototype is developed, after that the journey of any technology moves forward in those incubators. So innovations happen in the market. It does not happen in academic institution. So it goes much beyond. And Idea Labs were really not to be projected as innovation hubs. Uh, they can be provided. We change the curriculum. We introduce uh, uh, uncertainties in our curriculum instead of giving a fixed curriculum, organizing classrooms, and conducting examinations based on known knowledge. So if we persist with that, then we cannot think of innovation hubs. Innovation is not declared in classrooms. Anything new created in the classrooms or in the Idea Labs is not an innovation. Innovation is an idea which has the sanction of the market. So it is a tall order for academic institutions. Academia, therefore, must focus on capability building. The graduates trained in UA, UQ quadrant. So we should not be chasing innovation. We have to create innovators, not innovations. We have to produce people who master analysis, evaluate, and create. So this is what is uh, expected in academic institutions having Idea Labs. The Idea Labs serve as sandboxes, places where hit and trial failure is not a stigma at all. Uh, a classic example of a sandbox is our mobile phone. We fiddle with it. We are not afraid of anything. We navigate effortlessly. If we get stuck, we find some way out, and that is a sandbox that through which we have learned how to navigate websites or how to get into apps. And nobody actually taught us how to surf a website, how to get inside an app. So all this is heutagogy. Even a child uses heutagogy to learn in such scenarios. So AI takes care of content delivery at scale, recall and retrieval. So all that you can see on the left-hand side is what AI is capable of doing today. So what is left for the humans? It's ethical judgment under ambiguity, cross-domain synthesis and insights, care for a whole person, wisdom, knowing when and not just how. So there is still scope for the humans, and we have to push ourselves up on the Bloom's taxonomy. Higher education has to be about analysis, evaluate, and create, nothing below. If we are stuck at the bottom, we are not creating graduates who will be able to find jobs in the world of AI. So Idea Labs are like cognitive gyms. These are not innovation factories. Here, experimentation can be done and repetitions are allowed. They are basically learning zones, not a production unit. So that's how Idea Labs have to be differentiated. So education needs to be redesigned. Uh, it is not about putting AI into education. It did not work when we try to digitize all the artifacts, and education around AI would mean rewriting the curriculum logic, the assessment, and the rewriting the faculty rules. So it is, if we try to put AI into education system, it is not going to work. It is not going to deliver result. What is actually needed is not is the cognitive elevation. So far, we have been uh, latching on to academic progression. For us, education in the last 200 years has meant moving from one class to the next, one grade to the next. This is what education has meant, and it was okay because the industrial age required those type of skills and those settings. But today, those skills which we call as core thinking skills and encompass remembering, understanding, and application of knowledge, that is has been claimed by machines, and humans have to move up. So the core thinking skills can still be taught in the schools, but higher education has to be all about critical thinking. Otherwise, graduates will not find jobs. So capability should be replaced with should replace credentials. Today we evaluate or grade the students, but their capability has to be profiled and a portrait created. There has to be advancement only after mastery has been shown, and this has to be corrected. The teacher are have been at the fulcrum, at the center of the whole system, and the traditional teacher has been delivering information, explain, evaluate, recall, and all these things are done better and faster by the machine now. And we had a very interesting system of teachers, and the information deliverers that we have today will get definitely get displaced. But those who aspire to be at the operating at the higher level or at the critical thinking level will not get replaced. There will be no displacement. So we already had this system of gurukuls where we had adhyapaks who would pass on information, upadhyay who would impart knowledge, acharya would impart skill, and then we had at the critical thinking level pandits, drishtas, and gurus. So the lower three that you see at the first line, adhyapak, upadhyay, acharya, they are now AI is performing these functions, and upper three uh, which are about wisdom, lived experience, moral presence, they cannot be replaced by machine AI, and humans have to be there. So students in Idea Labs, instead of making prototype, they must ask, what problem does it solve? Who validates it? What assumptions fail? What data challenges it? So this is all about thinking, making the student think beyond creating a prototype. All students would come forward with an idea and develop a prototype. That's fine. But from that point, thinking must start. And all those questions which are there must be answered. So AI and Idea Lab become a powerful combination where AI helps in simulation, design iteration, rapid modeling, and the Idea Lab helps in physical validation, systems understanding, and embodied learning. So it becomes a very powerful combination. And you start with by asking AI and simulate, design, and this process can be adopted. Now, when we are talking about moving from memorizing to to critical thinking, the way we do evaluation also needs to change. So from marks to capability records is what I'm going to speak in this section, in this part. So assessment in Idea Labs should not be about the model, but about the process that has been followed. Rubrics must be used for judgment, creativity, iteration. And one of the interesting thing about Idea Lab is that the three learning domains, affective domain, psychomotor, and cognitive, all three get involved. In your normal classroom activities, it is only the cognitive. Whereas for a professional, for a graduate looking forward for a good job, good placement, all three are important. How to work with team, how to use your knowledge, uh, how to care about the environment, how to caring about the people you're going to work, or the people who are going to be impacted by the product that you're going to create. So all these are important for a graduate today. And then in Idea Lab, assessment need not be by faculty always. It can be through through the co-learners, and experts also could be involved. So you can see that it is not about testing the memory, but it is about looking the student in a holistic way, in a complete sense. So students must document the problem statement, the assumptions, AI prompts that they are using, the failed iterations, prototype evidence. All these things should be documented by the student. These are the artifacts which tell about the understanding that student has acquired. Uh, a typical transcript that we issue currently is, you can see in the red. We give grades A minus, B plus, and this is an example. Whereas AI is transcript demands that we issue transcript which tells about the level, Bloom's taxonomy level, and what artifact or what has been done, what was the capability displayed. So you can see the innovation entrepreneurship level 6. The student has founded ecotech solutions, $50,000 funding secure. So these are the learning outcomes. These are the artifacts. These are the indicators that learning has happened. The one that you see in the traditional transcript does not tell anything to the recruiter. Uh, it only tells how much time was spent in the classroom. It tells how much was memorized, but it does not tell what the student can do. So that answer comes when we shift towards the critical thinking skills. And this is, I've just imagined how a capability portrait, which is an equivalent of a degree that we get. So I've taken three students randomly: biotechnology, hotel management, and psychology. So here, the number of, you can see the numbers, 112, 48, 22, uh, 72, 34. These are the number of problems at that level, Bloom's taxonomy level, the student has attempted in the 4 years or the entire course duration. So instead of giving marks or reading the marks to make an assessment about the students, these are more desirable today. It tells what is the cognitive level, the proficiency student has acquired, the skills demonstrated, all these aspects. This is what exactly is needed today. The marks are of really no value. They are hollow. They don't help the industry. They actually don't help the students, and the teachers also understand. They know this. So I'll come to this part, and alignment with NEP. Uh, so NEP talks about multidisciplinary education, experiential learning, flexibility, and all these things which are being highlighted by NEP. We have to move in this direction, and AI is an enabler. It tells us that we need to do all these things and leave past whatever has been there, uh, uh, that has been preserved uh, by digitizing, and there is no place for all these artifacts, educational artifacts. So, impact potential of idea labs or things like the sandboxes, like things, they equalize tier 2 and tier 3 colleges. These are good setups where students can be created or be turned into thinkers and eventually leaders. Leaders, entrepreneurs, innovators emerge when students are when they confront uncertainties or the answers are not known. So the Idea Labs also reduce the fear of technology because these are multidisciplinary in nature. Uh, they strengthen the MSME problem solving. So students can be assigned these problems, and they can immensely benefit the STEM education in the schools. Once the students see these Idea Labs, functional Idea Labs, they get excited and their interest in STEM increases. So, what is required is not education 5.0, which is being talked about. Education has to be leaps ahead of industry. Uh, so, education 2047, which I often say I foresee, is the one which is without curriculum, without classroom, and without examinations. These three, curriculum, classrooms, and examinations, they stifle critical thinking. They do not help the graduates move up. They keep them the at the level where school children are. So if the graduates have to be prepared, we have to stop these three and road ahead for Idea Labs, the familiarization of the tool, that means understanding the lab itself, creating problem banks, AI assisted design studios, and this is what I propose could be the Idea Labs, and specifically for the KK Wagh Idea Lab, they should generate. From fabrication facility, it has to emerge as a cognitive learning architecture. So this is a challenge I'm throwing to KK Wagh College. They should generate problem banks, interdisciplinary teams, portfolio-based recognition. So this is the future Idea Lab should be driven towards. So, are we preparing students to compete with AI or collaborate with AI? This is what is the moot question as on date, and we have to be prepared to answer this. The students are losing interest in the classrooms. They are not interested because whatever is being taught in the class is available outside. So artifacts or structures and interventions like Idea Labs are the ones which can pull the students into the campuses. So we need more of them. And this is my last slide. I can see the time is up. So the future will belong to those who ask the best questions, and education must prepare those who move from answers to inquiry. So answers, finding answers or giving answers is not the future. Thinking and inquiry is. Thank you very much.
Wow. Thank you so much, sir. That was truly an insightful and thought-provoking session. Your valuable perspectives on innovation, experiential learning, and the transformative role of AICTE Idea Lab has certainly inspired all of us to think beyond the knowledge and move towards the meaningful creation. The four quadrants you told, and many more things. It was literally a mind-opening session.